Welcome to the basic training of Vet Exam Intro and how to use the CR7 scanner. To open the software, if you double click on the Vet Exam icon and wait for 5 seconds for it to open. The software will go through basic checks. For this, just press read and understood. It then checks the database for any faults and then will initialize the software and initialize the scanner. The scanner needs switching on before you switch the software on, but after you switch the computer on. The more X-rays you have in the system, the longer it will take to open the software. This is the patient screen. On the patient screen, it is where you search and create new patients. To create a new patient, you go to plus, which is create a record for new patient. Press on the plus button and you have a choice of species. You can choose dog, cat, horse, reptiles, rabbits, if we choose dog for this example. The minimum requirements are patient ID, owner's name, and animal name. If you'd like to put in a patient's photo, which then goes into the reports later on, if you click record image, go to your library where it's stored, to pictures, and for example I put a sample picture in. It requires a JPEG, and then double click and it places the picture into the software. Once you're happy, if you hit save, and then it saves the patient's file. If you want to edit any part of the patient's file, if you hit edit, you can then edit anywhere on here. For example, we can change these to capitals. And then you can hit resave. It asks you to replace the record. It only replaces the front part of the record, not any X-rays you've saved before. If you want to search for the patient's file again, there is 2 ways of searching. One is by the owner's name. So owner was Fred, there is Fred James, and then you can write it in. Or you can search by the patient's ID, and the patient's ID was 445 Tensor. It finds the patient. Double click, opens up the patient. To take an X-ray, you go to X-ray, and it comes up with the tooth shapes. On the tooth shapes you have, each tooth is named. At the top comes up with the name of the tooth, 104. You also have puppy, where you can choose as well. The bottom here, to go back, just press here and it goes back to normal. You also have different resolution modes, but the recommendation is to use 25 line pairs. Choose a tooth and then press input. To place, before you take an X-ray, it needs to be placed into a sheath. The sheath is a life protection barrier and a hygiene barrier. The blue side of the plate is the active side. On the plate you will see the production date, the size of the plate. On the side it has a blue code, and the blue code is a unique identifier for each plate. So you can assign a plate for different people within the practice, and this helps to look after the plates. Around the edge of the plate is a silver to help you to locate the plate within the sheath. Place the plate with the 2 facing outwards into the sheath. You'll then see a sticky. You pull this off, and seal. You then will be firing the X-ray this way, so this is tube side. You take the X-ray. Once you've taken the X-ray, you tear off here, drying the sheath first to make sure there's no animal fluid on the sheath. Do that again for this one, for an example. Tear off. The plate then gets placed in the scanner, and using one finger, press the plate into the scanner until you feel it move. You'll see an amber light to say that it's going through, and on the actual computer you'll see a preview coming through. So the image is now on the screen. Once the scanner has finished scanning, the mouth will open up and it will let you put another plate in. So you take the sheath out, take the plate out, the scanner, put straight back into another sheath, and don't reseal it. So you know that that X-ray has no X-ray on it. This one has a sealed end, so we know this has an X-ray on because we've sealed it. Again, tear this off. For the size 4, I recommend you slightly flex the plate. Place again into the scanner's mouth and press down with one finger. And it scans straight through again. And again, you'll get a preview of the image. Here we have the two X-rays on the screen. On the side of each X-ray you will see a bar. This tells you what if the exposure is correct. It should be as it is at the moment, roughly in the middle and green. The higher it is too much exposure. The lower, too little exposure. If it's red, it's completely wrong. To start using the X-rays, you just hit close, and this closes the scanner, ready for using again. These two teeth here are named the same. You would like to change the name of the tooth because this isn't the tooth we had. If you press on the 204, it will then open up the choose item again. Choose the tooth it actually was, for example here, and press OK. It then changes the name of the tooth. And again, if this one was wrong, change it to what it was. Once you're happy and you've saved those images, you can, at this point, if you'd like, just refilter them. I recommend filter the green for endo. This improves the quality of the image. At this point, you can save and open in Viewer. When you save here, this is your first saved. So this, I recommend you do as limited amounts of movements in the computer at this point, because this is the go back to point when you go to the viewer. So save and in Viewer. This then stores it to the database. It opens up in Viewer and shows you the two X-rays. To open one X-ray, just double click and that opens that one X-ray on the screen at full size. To close, just press the red cross. To open up the Viewer box again to see what X-rays you've got, just click here. To open up multiple, hold the Control key down on the keyboard, left click, this gets two images up, left click and hold on your mouse, holding all three down at the same time, left go, and drop them all at the same time as well. Then you'll have two images open up on the screen together. It is a Windows program, so you can move around manually, or you can use Viewer, Tile, and that puts them on the screen. To rotate this image, double click opens up the toolbox, and then you have the chance of rotating. Hold the corner, brings the box to the size that you require. You can then save the image. And again, the same on this one. You have right-click zoom to zoom in. You can change the zoom size of the box. Again here. You can bring this full screen by hitting this. To go out, hit the cross. You have lightness and darkness controls, making sure that the tools are on X-ray. You can left click and hold, and then left to right is lightness and darkness, up and down is contrast. You can also change the filters at this point if you like, but even if you completely ruin the image, you can always go back to first saved, which was the first save you did in the X-ray mode. If you mess it up completely and save the image, again you can still go back to first saved and resave it. So once you're in the viewer, whatever you do, you can always go back to first saved. These are the basic functions of taking X-rays and using the software. More advanced functions are available and can be asked. Thank you.